Well, hey everyone, welcome to Made by Mitch. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this book holder. Attached a leather strap to it to be a bookmark as well. So if you're a book reader, this is a great thing to have around, or a great gift if to someone who might be a book reader. So let's get started. Let me show you how I made this. So there are many different ways to design something like this, and I was going to use Photoshop, but I decided just to try to see what I could do and just draw something kind of freehand. So what I did was I just used this paint can here to create some shapes, and then all I did was just started drawing in some lines to try to make everything even, and it started taking shape, and that's really all I did to design this. I wanted to also mention that I am not an artist by any means, so you can do this. Just put your mind to it and start drawing some lines to get to the shape that you want. I did it this way because I wanted to prove that even though I don't have artistic capabilities, that I could still do something to this capacity. So I believe that you can too. You don't have to have a laser cutter, you don't have to have a CNC machine, and although those tools are great, you can do it just by hand. And while you're watching me draw this, I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It really would help me out. And then also, if it's your first time watching one of my videos, thanks for watching and welcome. So what I've been doing here with drawing this is just the template for what I will put for my main piece here later. And so the next thing I had to do was just cut it out with the jigsaw. Make sure you stay away from the line a little bit, and then you can use a sander to try to get closer to that line later on, but that way you don't ruin your template that you spent all this time working on. And now that you got your template made, you can put it on whatever piece of wood you want. In this case, I'm using just a piece of maple, and then just trace your shape onto that piece of wood. And then I just used a jigsaw to cut that out as well, also staying away from the line. And then I would later on with a belt sander get a little closer to that line. And once I got my rough shape cut out, I used the belt sander to get right up next to the line to make the shape that I wanted. And if you don't have a belt sander, no worries. I've had to do plenty of projects like this where I just used my hand and a piece of sandpaper. So if that's all you have, then that's all you do. Also used a random orbital sander right here to clean up the edges and just get a little bit more precise. Next, it was time to start drilling the hole for your thumb to go in when you're reading a book. And for this, I just used a hand drill and a 1-inch Forstner bit. And while I was drilling, I had a little bit of trouble with it trying to just spin out on me, so I added a piece of wood and clamped them on either side, and then also put one on the bottom so there wouldn't be any tear out. So it's really starting to take shape. Next thing I did was just one last sanding on it, and I did this up to 220 grit. And it was time to add the finish, and I just chose Danish oil. I'd never used this before and actually missed most of the shots when I came to applying this, but I really love this stuff. It really brought out the wood grain, and I love it that it didn't feel super tacky on there. And next I just drilled a small hole in one end to put the leather strap through, and again I'm using a piece of wood to drill into so I wouldn't have any tear out. And after that, it was time to add the leather strap. Now I tried attaching this several different ways, and the best way I found to do this was just to use a small screwdriver, push the leather through, and then, I'm not really sure what kind of knot this would be considered, but I just kind of looped it through. You'll see here what I do. And this seemed to be the best way that worked out for me. Again, I tried using different knots and things and just didn't like the way it looked, and so this way was the most functional for me to use. And after adding the leather strap, this project was complete.
Well, thank you so much for watching.
I really hope you enjoyed this project. I know it was really simple, but it makes a great gift, or it's just convenient to have if you are a book reader. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I try to post there as often as I can on what I'm doing around the shop. I try to get out videos as much as I can, but please subscribe. It would really help me out. And then also make sure you hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a video. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.